Welcome back, guys. It's episode 4 of the Purple Bloom podcast with Alisha and
Lauren.
If you've stuck with us this far, you've made it 4 episodes. Like, congratulations.
You made it. Wow. Oh gosh, on our journey. I'm so excited for this episode. So we're talking about self-care and self-love. And when I hear self-care and self-love, I always think about the Love Yourself albums from BTS that they put out. The Love Yourself era, I guess I should say.
Right? It was a whole era. We got 3 whole albums.
3 whole
dedicated
albums.
to loving ourselves.
And that was the era that we actually met in, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
How fitting.
I know. Yeah, we our whole our friend group, we had such an emphasis on self-love because of that, I think. Like that album really showed that to us in a very it presented loving yourself in a way that I've never experienced that kind of presentation before, I guess. Like I never thought about loving yourself ever in that context.
I think as women, we don't really get too many messages like that. Like in mainstream media, it's always like, oh, here are these things to make you prettier, skinnier, more beautiful. It's never like, oh, by the way, you're enough. Oh yeah, with COVID now. Yeah, more productive.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's when I remember, because the Love Yourself era began before we met. We met during, but there was a time where we didn't really know each other, or we didn't have our group. We didn't have our friend group. And the Love Yourself era was just beginning. And I remember the way that I made sense of it was I need to love myself so that I can give love to other people. And that's how I reasoned it. But now I'm like, absolutely not. I just need to love myself because that's end of story. I just need to love myself because I deserve love,
Aww.
But
I think
crazy.
both of those were really cute.
Yeah. But it's crazy how that's how I started thinking about it, in that sense of well, I feel guilty about just loving myself.
Aww.
You have to there has to be a reason that it helps out other people. Otherwise that's selfish, right?
No, I think you're just very selfless, Lauren.
Oh, no. Oh, no,
If nobody knows Lauren personally, Lauren is I don't even know how to describe Lauren.
No.
Angelic. Truly. Super selfless.
No.
I'm the one who's Lauren, be selfish. Be selfish, Lauren. That's me, my contribution to Lauren's personality now.
No, it's just Alisha saying that because she's biased, because she's my best friend. That's only why.
Sigh.
But in that kind of loving yourself journey, you kind of the way that I kind of grew in that to realize that, okay, I just need to love myself because, I just need to love myself and I deserve love. I deserve that love. Just an end of story, It was by spending more time with their music and things like that.
Yeah.
Just listening to their music, listening to their stories.
I think it's still okay though to want to love yourself for other people. I don't think there's really a right or wrong,
Yeah.
I think everyone's a little bit different. So it's not selfish if you want to love yourself for just loving yourself. I think that's perfectly okay. And I love myself to love myself.
Yeah. So. I was just about to ask how your point of view on it is.
I think I didn't quite absorb all of the messages from Love Yourself at first, because I think a part of me was do I deserve it? Do I deserve all of this love? I don't know. And I think, if you're out there and you're having those thoughts, yes, you do deserve it. Don't think that you don't. And if you need to revisit the era, please, I love going back to Answer, Tear, Her, super underrated albums. I think, at least me, for sure, I did not appreciate them when they came out fully. So I go back all the time.
Yeah. And I was thinking too, while you brought that up, about how like the earlier stuff too was like we listened to it and, you know, we have like a different kind of point of view of loving yourself than we do now, or a different relationship with that kind of experience. And I think that the boys also had a very different view on loving yourself at the beginning of the era versus the end of the era versus even now, you know?
Yeah. That's a good point. We always forget how much they've grown, right? Because we've grown with them. So it's hard to kind of like look back and be like, oh. And then you actually like look back at like the Bangtan bombs that came out at that time and you're like, oh, they look like babies.
Just little guys. Yeah. Yeah. Like, one thing that helped me kind of realize that like it's okay to just, you know, just straight up, just like love yourself and just learn to love yourself, just for that sole purpose, was when it was like a couple, like J-Hope, if you know the man, sometimes he will say things and it's just like, what in the world? Like did you see the clip where he said, I think I'm a really loved person?
Yeah.
Like, I just, when you hear that, when you see that, it's like, oh, wow, why would you say that out loud? You know, but then you like, I'm like sitting there and I'm like, actually, that's really empowering that he said that out loud and that he genuinely thinks that. And like, I want to think that, you know, and I want to feel like that. And I'm not J-Hope, but like in my small world, you know?
Aww.
And
but I think
so that, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that I think that seeing them accept themselves and love themselves in a way helped me start to do that as well.
Yes. And I think Hobie feels really comfortable with like acknowledging other people's love, right?
He does, I feel like.
I think Tay feels like that too.
Oh, yeah.
He's very comfortable with acknowledging everyone else's love.
V. Oh, he's just a bear who has so much love to give.
Yes. I think they all do. And we all do. To his
close people. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We all do. But so, Alisha, what kind of routines have you gotten into then to like help with this self-love relationship that you have with yourself? Like whether it be physical or mentally or anything like that.
One thing that I didn't really have to like work on, it was already a part of my routine, was taking a nice bath. I love baths. Put me some Epsom salt, some lavender essential oil, and I will literally just become a raisin. I'll just sit there. It's great. I love it. But that was like, that's my way of, I don't know. For me, it's kind of hard to turn off sometimes. I feel like I have to be productive all the time. So taking that moment to like turn off and say, this is actually really useful time. I just happen to be recharging and not doing anything, but it's still productive. Like categorizing my time like that really helps me feel it more as like I am taking time for myself and this is my self-care routine. Like, and I deserve to take this time.
Yeah. I really, really like that, how you brought in the like productivity kind of view in it too. Where it's like sometimes you can feel guilty about taking this time for yourself, but in reality, you need to take this time for yourself, because if you don't, then you're just building up on like a bad engine, you know, or you're running your engine on bad oil, I guess is a better analogy on that.
And especially during this pandemic where, you know, we're automatically at home a bit more. So maybe people feel like, oh, you know, I'm home. I can be productive. I have all this time now to be productive. But it's still really important to like step back and be like, no, I am home. Maybe I do have the ability to work from home, but I still get to take time for myself. I still get to, you know, if I need to take that walk, which is another one of my self-care things. I love taking walks around my neighborhood.
You take a lot of walks. You do walk around your neighborhood, and you like to like social walk too. Like you take walks with your mom and your cousin too.
Yeah, I do.
I think that's awesome. It's healthy for you too. It's good to get out and get that fresh air.
Yes. And it's really good for me to unplug. Sometimes I do listen to music, but a lot of the times I don't. And I just like listen to the sound of the wind, feel it, take in how beautiful the sky looks today, feel the ground. Like it really is like kind of like a walking meditation for me, where I'm not
that's
like,
what I was just going to say.
Yeah, I'm not like totally tuned out. Like I'm there. It's actually more like I'm super present now instead of getting lost in my thoughts.
I love that. Yeah. And then also, like you said, like unplugging, like you're not being sucked into a reality that is, how do I say this? Like the reality that you're in is like the actual reality that is like right now in the moment. You're not being sucked into the internet or into like the smaller, you know, things of the day, smaller issues of the day, but just like the actual moment that the earth has presented to you, you know?
Aw, I love the way that you phrased that.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, because that's how I feel about it. It's like, there's this moment that I will never get back because time doesn't go backwards. So we're just going to be fully present right now in this moment and just enjoy it. It's one of my favorite things to do. But also you can go walking with like your dogs. Like you go walking with Lucy all the time.
Oh yeah, I do. Oh, I love that. Yeah. I just love my dog so much. I love walking her and spending time with her. And just seeing how happy she gets. When she is happy, it's like I am elated. You know, when she gets happy to go outside the gate. But every time like I open the gate, it's like she's never seen like the light of day. When I did, like she does go on walks like regularly, I promise. It's like, goodness.
Lucy just lives her life to the fullest.
She does. Lucy's my dog for our listeners. She's an Australian Shepherd. I'll post pictures of her maybe if you want to see on my social medias.
Yes. We would love to see Lucy.
Yeah. But it's cool how you like meditating is kind of, because I would consider like a bath kind of a meditation too. Like you're just kind of slowing down and like you're in the moment also.
Yes. That's true, I guess. Yeah, I've never thought about it like that, but yeah.
Yeah, like your routines are kind of like a slow down. Let me just process. Let me rest. You know, I love that. Because like,
so then what are your kind of routines? Yeah.
Yeah, mine is like,
there we go.
A healing writing a little bit. So it's like different. And that's why I was talking about like how it's like you're calming and you're like slowing down. Mine is like at the races in a sense, where it's like I'm like writing. I write. I like I don't want to say I write quite a bit, but like, you know, when I was in university, I would I would like during the weekend I would make a goal of like, all right, this weekend I'll write like 10,000 words, and I would do that like every weekend.
Oh my God.
But it was so healing for me because it's one of those things. You know, I grew up in a more controlling environment, I guess you could say. And when you have control over your own story, it's very healing. And then when you have control over these characters, and then you can put them in similar situations as you have been through or that you feel like you're going through. And then if you, take these characters, you put them in these situations, and then you resolve these situations in the way that you want the situation to be resolved in. To me, that is so healing. And so that's like my kind of self-care, self-love, is setting aside time to be able to heal in that sense, where I can just like tell stories and then just kind of I don't know, just create like a, oh, that sounds really sad. I'm like thinking about what I just said. That sounds like I'm very sad. I am not. It's, but you know, it's healing, really, I guess. Mm-hmm.
I think it's really empowering that you're like, I want to write my stories. Like, I kind of want to rewrite my own stories and like make them how I want. I don't think that's sad. I think that's really empowering though.
Yeah, I hope so. But like, and we were talking a little bit too, like Alisha and I, about journaling and how that's also another form of healing too. I don't journal that much though. I write, I used to write poems, but I have found that I remember, Alisha, when I was going to write like a poem book and I was going to get it published. It was like,
girl, I am blanking on this. When did this happen? I know it's in my memory bank somewhere.
Yeah, it's in your memory bank. We had a whole conversation about it. Remember, we went to that diner. You came up here to Ohio.
Oh, and, I do remember that.
Yeah, see, there we go.
Girl,
there she
you
is.
buried that. You buried that. What happened to that?
I know. I have a bunch of poems, and maybe one day I'll post or, publish them, but they're not like cohesive. And so that's kind of what stopped me. They're also very...
It doesn't need to be cohesive.
What's the word? Emotional, I guess. It's a very emotional thing to be presenting the world if you want to show someone your poems like that. But anyway, moral of the story though, like to get to my point of why I brought that up is I found that is almost a little bit too much in, like trying to heal in a sense. Like it's almost like too aggressive in addressing the emotions that I'm feeling in the moment. And so that's why I kind of pivoted more into storytelling, because I can address it through another through another character. So it's like I'm not actually, putting that pressure on myself and like, kind of freaking myself out. Like, oh, wow, these are big emotions. I'm a little person for big emotions, So
it sounds like the poems are very draining.
They are. That's the word. Yes. That is exactly what it is. Do you journal, Alisha?
I used to. All throughout high school when I was having my little like early life crisis, I journaled like constantly. Yeah. But since then, I haven't journaled as much. However, I do like journaling, and I'll usually journal for specific purposes. So like between Reiki and Reiki 1 and Reiki 2, I journaled between those, or I have been journaling as a way to like kind of reflect and see like what's changed in my life. So if anyone does not know what Reiki is kind of like energy healing. That's kind of the best description I can use for it. And there are various levels. So there's like a Reiki 1, which is where you start, and then a Reiki 2. And there's usually 21 days between those courses. If you want to do them back to back, you don't have to. And it's really encouraged for you to like Reiki yourself and then journal what changes. Like it could be in you, in your life, in your environment. And for me personally, I like went into this thinking like, oh, I'm going to have these profound changes and like find my dream career and like, dream job, husband. Yeah, no, it was just really subtle.
Yeah.
So Reiki won't fix your life, full disclosure, if that's what you're looking for. But I noticed that like I was a little bit happier with my life and my decisions, and like I could get out of my car in the morning and walk to work and be like, oh, it's really pretty out this morning. The sun looks really beautiful. Like old Alisha never would have been able to stop. I would have been so anxious about like, God, now I have to get to work and now I have to do interventions. And like, I would have worked myself up over that. But yeah, Reiki has been really helpful. So if anyone is curious, most of the time you can find people who practice Reiki in your area, and they will usually, if you find a Reiki circle, they will usually be able to give you like a mini session, and you can see how you like it for yourself. It's, different for every person.
Yeah. I love how you were describing how Reiki has influenced your life now, and like that example of you going to work. It kind of reminded me of like what you were talking about, going on a walk, and like the reason why you went on a walk was to be like more in the moment and focus less on the little things. And the fact that like Reiki is kind of like a way of self-care, or a big way of self-care in that sense.
Yeah. That's actually why I got into it. I got into Reiki because I wanted to do it on me. So I was like, well, let me learn some more about it and like how it works. And also to expand on it, because I only gave like the barest description, but like it's kind of like a massage, but like for your soul. So like I don't actually like massage you like you would a traditional massage, but like there are certain placements, for where your hands might touch, and like, but it's nothing like, how do I put it? It's not like super physical in any way. They're very light touches. And like I said, everyone kind of feels differently, like from Reiki. Certain people have like, given me Reiki, and I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm on fire. Like the energy is so hot right now. Yeah. And then sometimes I'll get to certain places on my body and like I won't feel anything. And that doesn't mean nothing's happening. It usually just means like maybe that area has a blockage and you're trying to work around it or through it. Or maybe the energy is going somewhere else. But it's like very different and very interesting and like not really explainable. But it goes where it needs to go. And you just have faith that, the process is the process.
Yeah. Ever since you've been talking like to me and like sharing your experiences about Reiki, I've been thinking about energy more, and just about how energy is just kind of all around us, and the energy that we have, we're putting out into the world, and we have like control over how we put that energy out, and we have control over what energy we allow to be around us and in us too.
Yes. And I guess that kind of ties into self-care too. Because, like we talked about how we met during like the Love Yourself era. And I think we were all kind of giving off these vibes. Like, I really want to find, I was like, I want to find my group of people. I want to find my people who can help me love me and who can give me like what I want. Because all my previous friendships had been in some way draining or not really uplifting. And I felt like that's what really like solidified our friend group at that time. I was like, these are my people. Like they root for me. They're happy for me. Like they're so encouraging and supportive. And like all I wanted to do was give that back to them and to you.
Yeah. I think that we all were, like you said, in a very similar place in that. Because I think that, well, at least in my situation, and we can have Alyssa on the call too at some point to share her experience too. But where I was in my life, I guess I should start there. When we met was I had just like had, in quotations, a friend breakup with a group of friends that I had that were also into BTS. And, things just like fell apart. They were younger than me. They were amazing people, lovely people. And I'm still friends with them. But it's just like we used to hang out like every weekend. But it was just, they were younger, and I think our lives were on different paths. And it just wasn't what I was really looking for. I didn't feel validated in the relationships that I had. And that's nothing against them. I think, like I said, it was just something. I was on a different, I think I was older. I was looking for different things, and they were looking for different things in their life, and that to each their own. That's each side is so valid, right? And what each other's looking for. But yeah, I had to step away, and that's hard when you have to do like a friend breakup like that, especially when it's a group. And I didn't have any college friends. Like these were my only buddies until I met Alyssa, and then I met you. And then it was just like, it really did feel like fate in the way that all of that worked out. And we all wanted the same thing, which was like friends that are going to last, like buddies that are going to stick with it, you know, because I'm not wasting my time anymore, you know? Like I want friends that are going to really stay here.
I think that's a part of self-care that like gets really overlooked, but like the people you surround yourself with are so important. It's so important. It's almost like fighting an uphill battle if you're trying to take care of yourself, but you're surrounded by people who are draining. Like, I have many people throughout my whole entire lifetime who have like sought a very one-sided relationship where it's like, I really want to call you so I can vent to you. I really want to meet up and hang out with you so I can tell you about my life. And then I'm not really interested in yours. So I feel like when we finally found our friend group, and especially fittingly during the Love Yourself era, it was like turning a new chapter and being like, oh, okay, this is it. This is what self-care looks like. Like this is a part of it. So,
like this is what it is. And I think a little bit of it too, maybe is growing up and just kind of, at least for me, because I'm the youngest in the group and I've never had friends like you guys, you know, like I've never, like you guys were my first like ride or die. Like I'm going to have you guys till the end, you know, kind of friends. But yeah, like you said, it was like just something really special to have found in the Love Yourself era, especially because that was like that was a value that we all had. And that's such a deep rooted value that really bleeds into a lot of different other aspects in your life. You know, like those routines, like taking baths, exercising, writing to heal, and reading, and, you know, doing things for yourself. That's the foundation. And then from there, you can grow from that and then be your own person. And then by being your own person, then you're making the relationship you have with other people healthier. And it's just the roots to the tree, buddy, you know?
I love that. It's true.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I feel like that's a really good foundation because like, the other things that you could add to this foundation would be like diet, exercise, even like essential oils, wellness. Yeah, it's really like wellness, but you've got to have the root first. Like you've got to have that, like, for me, it's like that solid friend group, like grounding connection. Because I mean, come on, we all have really tough days. We all have days where we're like, nope, don't want to go to work today. Nope, don't want to deal with life today.
Because we're just people.
Yeah, and I think a part of that too was, I think our friend group especially was really good at like being very understanding. Because like you said, we are just people. Like as much as you love yourself, you're still going to have days where you do not want to get out of bed. Still going to have days where you don't want to deal with life, and that's okay. But it's important that, it is. And it's to me, it's like, it's been so helpful to find people who will still be there. Like you said, ride or die. Like, yes, Lauren is my ride or die. I called Lauren once on my lunch break because I was like going to walk out of my job and leave it. Yeah. And Lauren's on the phone with me for like 45 minutes, convincing me to not quit.
Yeah.
True ride or die right there, y'all.
I'll always be your ride or die. Yeah, that was the funniest thing. You did quit that job, but
I did quit that
job. To. You needed to. It was like the next day too.
I know. I quit. Yeah, I did quit the next day. Wow. But like she said, it was an act of self-care that I quit that job because it forced me into therapy. It made me really reevaluate, like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing with my life? Why do I keep finding these jobs that like I hate and don't want to do and don't want to be in? And like, So that was like that kind of moment where like life has to like completely fall apart for you to be like, I need to get my shit together. Are we allowed to curse on this podcast?
Oh yeah, this is our podcast. Great. We can do whatever we want.
So yeah, I had that moment where I was like, I had to get my shit together.
Yeah. Yeah. But you don't have to do it alone, you know?
No.
Because you got buddies here.
I hope our friend group has been supportive for you too, Lauren. Because I know you've been through it too. With jobs.
Oh, yes. No, you guys have been so supportive. It's just been rough for me because of the pandemic, I think. Mm-hmm. It's rough for everybody. But yeah, our friend group has been so supportive. And I think that that's such a it's such a necessary foundation sometimes. Having people who like also who understand you and who like no matter what, they're going to vibe with you and they're going to put themselves in your shoes and just, you know, say like, that must be really hard, you know, like just genuinely. And then like, that's like, you know what, it is really hard, you know, and then,
yeah.
And then from that point, then, you know, your friends build you up.
Yes.
It's so necessary sometimes. It's so needed. But it's important not to take that for granted too, because like we said, it's not every day that you have a friend group like that. That you find people that are going to really do that for you. Mm-hmm.
And just to put it in perspective, I didn't find like this friend group until I was like, what, 28? Yeah. 27 or 28?
I think you were 20. You were 27, I think. And then your birthday was like the weekend before we met.
Yes. The weekend before we met. Yeah. For the first time in person.
Yeah.
Ever.
Because I wanted to celebrate your birthday. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're still a baby and you feel like you haven't found your friend group yet, it's A-okay. You will find them at some point, I promise.
Yeah. You'll find them. It's all in due time.
Yes.
We have some quotes here that I want to share. Yeah. This one, Alisha has 2 quotes here that she added in, and I love them both. This one's from Answer Love Myself. It's which is one of the songs from the BTS Love Yourself era. This is what they closed out their concerts with, which I mean to me is like a religious experience.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. So the translation is, you've shown me I have reasons. I should love myself. Yesterday's me, today's me, tomorrow's me. I'm learning how to love myself. Yes. I like the idea of time, yet the mistakes that I made yesterday, whatever I have planned tomorrow, and whatever I did today, right now, I love it all because it's me.
Yes. And I know June also put that into his UN speech, which is also one of my favorite parts of that speech.
Oh, yeah. His UN speech, and was it 2017, 18?
18 maybe?
The one where, 18. I think it was 18. Oh, that hits something fierce. I watch that every now and then. Just, it is something special.
It is. And this song really like, I remember when it first came out and it was like, oh, this is my song. Like, I don't know why, but it's like you said, the ending is a religious experience. I swear, like hearing the whole stadium like sing this, it's like, it's got a different energy to it.
Yes. And on that topic, that and Jin's song.
Yes.
Epiphany. I was thinking of Euphoria. It's Epiphany.
Yes.
Euphoria is also lovely. But when Epiphany, when you're singing, I'm the one I should love in a stadium, with a stadium full of people saying that to you, with you.
Chills.
Chills. Like I'm tearing up a little bit just like talking about it because it's so.
I got chills.
Like it's yeah. It's really like I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's like a sense of community. It's like an energy. It's like if all of these people are learning to love themselves, then I can love myself. You know?
It's really hopeful in a way.
Yes, hopeful.
Even though the song itself is kind of sad. The tone of it is kind of sad to me.
Oh, yeah. It's like depressing. But, and then the music video, too. Oh, Jenny.
But when the stadium is singing it, it's hopeful.
Yeah. I think
also
that,
have... Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'm going to read the other quote, so you go.
Oh, okay. Well, this is the last thing on this, but I think that the Jin's music video and like, I think that his song was meant for their story. And I think that kind of is why it has that sad vibe, maybe. Their little HY story.
Oh,
but
yes.
The lyric, but how it was performed, and when it was sang with everybody, it was such a hopeful experience, like you said.
It really was. And I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, but like truly, like whenever the next BTS concert happens, like if you've never experienced it, it's worth every penny. There really is no bad seat. The nosebleeds are still just as magical. Like we've been in like the nosebleeds. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah. 2017, I was in the nosebleeds.
You were. Oh my God.
The
top of your army bomb like went up a level, didn't it? Do you remember that? The little red thing came off. This was back when the first version of army bombs existed.
Oh, no. Oh my God, Alisha, no. That was not, no, I didn't. The top of my army bomb broke because I gave it to someone else to use it because she forgot hers.
Oh.
Do you remember?
Nope.
It was during our Love Yourself concert, and she was in the stands, and she didn't have it, so I was like, you can just use my old one, my Army 2 version 1 or 2 or whatever I had, Army Bomb, and then she like, but then another time I broke the one that I have now because I was in me and Alyssa were up high. We were in the high seats, and I was banging it so hard on that rail that it just like broke.
Lauren was like headbanging at this concert.
I know. We looked down and Alyssa was just like, oh my God, Lauren, we can't go anywhere. Sahar was trying to take me to like the like security, like the help desk to try and get my little pieces that have fallen down.
Oh my God.
It was a mess, but it was fun. It's a memory. It's a good memory. We love yesterday's me. So.
Yes.
We love yesterday's broken army bomb.
I love that story.
I know.
Too funny.
But I was in the nosebleeds in 2017 in Chicago. I was like the last row on the top. Like you could not go any higher. But it was still like Alisha said, it was still such a good experience, and I could see everything, and it was what it is if you can be in that crowd, that's what it is. That's where the magic is. Anywhere. Yeah. As long as you're there. You don't have to be close. You don't have to be right up next to the boys. Honestly, those are our tickets, so you can't take our tickets.
No,
I'm just kidding. That's a joke. For legal purposes, that is a joke.
Honestly, before there was a seated floor section, floor was very stressful. So seats were a nice relief. I was like, oh, thank God. We don't have to wait forever now. We don't have to line up. Like, we can just go sit at our seat. And it's great for filming purposes too.
Yeah. You have some room. But do you want to read the second quote?
Yes. I was trying to figure out how to nicely segue to it, but I couldn't.
Oh,
I can only keep thinking about like the video, like someone subbed the Mikrokosmos like clip, the quote that I have. She subbed like this specific part, and it's like, cause it's a rap line. And I keep thinking about the clip, and I'm like, I need to find this clip. Okay. My other favorite song from Love Yourself era is Mikrokosmos. It feels so good. I don't know. And I remember when I made your scrapbook, Lauren, this is the quote I chose because I was like, this is my favorite quote. I love this quote.
Oh.
That's why it's on your book.
Oh, I'm going to cry. Oh my God, you're going to cry again.
It's my favorite.
But
like I said, this is rap line kind of like trading off, and then also vocal line in there towards the end. But the quote is, Some lights are ambition, some lights are wanderings. Lights of people, each one of them is precious. In a dark night, don't feel alone. Like stars, we shine. Don't disappear because you are one great existence. Let us shine. It just...
Let us shine.
Yeah. Like in concert, it's like a really magical experience to like feel like you belong. Like, oh, they're talking about me. My light is precious.
Yeah, they're talking about it's like it's our phone flashlights.
Yes.
It's not even our army bombs. It's like everyone's got a phone flashlight.
Yeah.
So literally every single light, each one of them is precious. Oh. And they're looking at us and we're looking at them.
Mm-hmm. It's, oh my God, I just realized it's like Bangtan is like all of our like friend group. It's like our friend group. We're like, we love you. And they're like, but we love you. And I'm like, no, but we love you more.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. We have such warm feelings in this podcast. I love it.
Right.
Well, it's a self-love podcast episodes. So
yes.
As it should. But yeah, I agree. It's like, what is it that they say? Like BTS are ARMY, but ARMY is also BTS or vice versa. Something like they support us just as much as we support them. June said it one time at a concert. He was like, I can't wait till you guys have a concert so I can come to it.
Oh, yeah.
Like ARMY has a concert. And
oh my gosh.
Tears. Like, how is he real?
Right? We really lucked out choosing BTS. Like, I always feel that way.
We did.
It's kind of hard to explain to people who are not in the fandom or don't know them or have only been introduced to them through Western media. But like, really like going to the albums and the lyric videos and like looking up translations, like it really gives you so much more. And then I feel like the more you dive in, the more you're like, oh, these aren't normal like entertainers. These aren't like celebrities here for the money. Big Hit is here for the money for sure.
Oh,
but
Big Hit is here for the money. We know that.
But Bangtan is not. Like they're not like that. And I remember thinking like, oh, is this just gonna be like another fad? Like, am I just gonna like love this group for like a year or two and then get over it? And like here we are, like going on 5 years later. Yeah.
It's a relationship. It's not.
Ah, yes.
It's a relationship and it's a community.
That's like the perfect word. It really is a relationship.
Yeah. Because they're not in it for the money. I think, I'll say it, I think a few of the members like the attention. Who wouldn't?
I mean, who wouldn't? Yeah.
But
I want all the love too.
I would want that too. But even so, like at the end of the day, I don't think that that's why they're doing it.
No, I don't.
I think that they have a bigger, I think that they love to dance. I think that they love to sing. And I think that they love having this kind of relationship with us.
And I think they model really healthy relationships within the group too. Like, they will talk to each other even if they're upset or angry. They will work it out. Like they are very supportive of each other. And I think we can especially see that in how each member kind of has different strengths. Like they all have different areas in which they excel in. So together they make such an amazing team because they have so many different strengths. And I especially remember the time we finally found out that Jin and Tae had that big argument before 2017 Wings. And like, we were like, what? But then to think like, I remember watching it and thinking, wow, they're still, even though they're still hurt and upset, like they still had to go on with the show. They still talked about it afterwards. You know, they like worked to repair that. It wasn't, left to fester and for feelings to get hurt more. And just like we were talking about, like finding the people that like really support you and like love you so you can support and love yourself. Like they're so good at that as a group.
Yeah, they really, really are. And it's genuine too. Yes. And you can tell that through the video or through even like when we saw them in person, like you can just tell that they just adore each other so much. Mm-hmm. And, you know, maybe part of that is like they've been through so much together, you know, going through a small company. They knew they all took a risk together. So they all have to have a certain amount of trust in each other.
Yeah.
Already like starting out in their relationship.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But just like building up off of that, it's like all the good things. That's Lucy if you hear a dog barking. But that's...
Hi, Lucy.
But yeah. Oh, I just love them so much.
I know, right? They're the reason we started this podcast, so you know.
I know. They're the reason why we met. Or the reason how we met.
They're the reason for so many things. I would have a long laundry list if I were to list out all the reasons, like, buying time is in my life and what they've done.
I know. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Like, when you see the web of how things, like, so for example, in my life, so I met you, and you ended up being one of my best friends, and now we're making a podcast together. Yay. And I met Alisha, which is another one of our close friends here. She lives in my city. And we've been friends for just as long as Alisha and I have. Well, Alisha and I have been friends for a little bit longer. But, you know, now I work for her parents' company. So now I'm employed. And that is like, it's like trickled down. Like if I didn't like BTS, then I wouldn't be employed right now by like with like a really nice, you know, position and stuff. And it's like,
wow.
And you know, if we want to get like even crazier,
let's get crazier.
I wouldn't have studied English in university if it wasn't for Namjoon.
I remember that.
I would have probably done a major that would have probably given me like a more job prospects afterwards, but I definitely wouldn't have gotten the same experience. I definitely learned so much as an English major than I mean, I don't know. I didn't take any other majors, but I just know like I learned so much, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. And like I said, wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for Namjoon and his books that he reads.
Yeah. I think thinking about BTS and thinking about like us really made me realize like everyone has their own path and their own journey in life. And like, I don't know, they've made me realize that like, you know, your journey might not feel like it's yours. Like maybe sometimes you're like, you don't want to be at this job. You don't want to be in this career. But I feel like a lot of the times you kind of like, you find your way anyway. Because like, think about it. BTS started in very different paths. Like when we always look at how they came together, I'm like, that's fate. Like there's no other way they came together other than like fate being like, you 7 must be together. And I think they bring that to us too. Because I feel like from having them in our lives, like, they've given us so much and they've impacted all of our individual lives so much that like, I know that I made a poster once for a concert and it was along the lines of like, you know, because you've done all these things, like your legacy will be endless. Because I truly believed it in that moment. I'm like, their legacy is going to be never ending. They've literally impacted like millions of people. Yeah. They're never going to like.
Are you talking about your
give up.
sign, your interlude chat, or no, your interlude sign that you made where you did the interlude lyrics?
Yes.
That one? Oh, yeah. Yes. You love that. Yes. That was you wanted to get a tattoo of that too.
I did. I remember it now. It's like, though your beginnings were humble, like, yes, your legacy will be forever.
That's what it was. Yes.
Which is a play on the lyrics that Yoongi had. Though your beginning may be humble, may your end be prosperous, which is a Bible verse. Hey.
Whoa.
Full circle.
I feel like you told me that, but.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Full circle. Big time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, I feel like that's a really, really good quote to end it on.
I agree.
Let us, yeah, I would love to know, our listeners, I would love to know what you guys, what your relationship with loving yourself is and how you go about loving yourself. Like we shared a couple of our things, our self-care activities that we pursue to heal and to love ourselves. But what do you guys do? And I'd love to start this conversation and, you know, like kind of get ideas of how, like, different ways that we can go about building this relationship with ourselves and building this really nice foundation of love for ourselves to grow on.
Yes.
But with that, we will see you guys, or we'll see you guys next time. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.